living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Hey there, welcome to this episode of Your Ultimate Life. You know, I'm going to take this moment to acknowledge a couple of really important things. I cover, with myself and with guests, a wide range of topics. I get proposals for people to be on the show all the time, and I invite that. If you have a message or a story or something you want to share that has to do with creating purpose, prosperity, and joy, or adding good to the world, I like to say, then I want to hear from you. And the best way to do that is to go to this URL right here, www.kellanfluckigermedia.com. And there's a contact form, and get a hold of me and tell me what you want, what you have, and why you want to, what the message is and why you want to be here. And here's why I say that. My goal, my commitment this year is to reach 300 million people with a message and a method and the work of mastery to go from a place of learned helplessness where we live in a place where we think we can't, control things, and an addiction to mediocrity where we just settle. We settle for what's easy and obvious instead of what we can really have. And victim mindset, where we're, in the frame that everything happens to me. Those three things, every one of you have some, a little, or a lot. That may be an uncomfortable question for you. Was for me. How much am I settling? How much am I addicted to mediocrity? Meaning, good as it gets, it's enough, as opposed to a commitment, radical excellence. And that doesn't mean perfection. That means as good as I can do something. And instead of learned helplessness, having a fierce life ownership. Like you and I, we get the days. They go by one at a time. You get it once, I get it once. And what I've learned in my journey in the last 18 years, since my life radically changed in 2007, was that fierce life ownership's the way to go. I own my life. No one can take it from me. I can give it away. I can give up control. I can allow everybody else and everybody else's agenda and desires to control my life, or I can take fierce life ownership. Fierce means unrelenting, unyielding life ownership. And I don't mean to be a fierce or unrelenting or unyielding person. You can be humble, you can be kind, you can be joyful. And in fact, I recommend that highly. It makes us feel better. When we're loving and serving, we feel better. Fiercely owning your life means recognizing that it's your choice to be loving and kind, not people-pleasing and resentful. Like they're completely different things. You might do something for someone out of love and kindness and joy and just do it and do it really well because you're radically excellent. Or you can do exactly the same thing and feel resentful and negative. Like, I wish I didn't have to. Why did they ask me? And that's with the same action. So when I say fierce life ownership, it means taking the responsibility that is yours for your life. And the truth is, you and me, we create life whether we want to or not, whether we agree we are, whether we want to admit it or not. The life you have, you've created. Every experience that you have, you built. Now, let's take that apart. The experience is not what happened. The experience is how we interpret what happens. Like that story where someone, the farmer says, it's raining, and someone says to the farmer, well, that's bad for your crops, isn't it? And the farmer says, we'll see. And then he goes down a whole list of things, and his answer is always, we'll see. Because there is greatness and possibility in every event. Even if it initially hit you between the eyes and you're like, ooh, that sucked. The question, like we've talked about before, is what is the gift here? So creating your ultimate life's in your hands. Nobody's coming. Nobody's going to build it for you, and nobody can take it away from you. And that's the beautiful thing. So you're invited to share your stories, your insights, because my commitment to reach 300 million is not about only my message, which is you can move from learned helplessness, victim mindset, addiction, and mediocrity over here to fierce life ownership, radical commitment to excellence, and a joyful yearning to serve. That's way more fun to live there. And you know what else I noticed? Make more money, and you have a bigger impact, meaning you affect more people in the world. You add good to the world at a larger scale. So you can do that too. That's my mission, and that's why I'm going to 300 million. So I meet people all the time, and lots of people reach out to be on the show, and so I'm extending that invitation to you. And the way to do it is go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com and use the contact form. Tell me what you want, because I love meeting people, because I love you. I love you. I know you're divine. I know that you have been through your share of learning experiences, victories, struggles. I also know that you have made the choices about whether those things ruin you or refine you. And maybe they ruined you first and refined you later. Like me, I've done that. So that's the first invitation I want to offer you, along with telling you that I'm grateful you're here. Thanks. Let's go create your ultimate life. That life of purpose, prosperity, and joy that you can have right now, not someday down the road. The idea that, well, I'll have it when I have $1 million in the bank, or 10 million, or 100 million. Those are just numbers. I was reading a post today on Facebook that said, it was by I think, if I interpreted it correctly, a woman who'd been a very, very famous designer, fashion, I think, and she talked about the money in the house and the car and the clothes and the bank account and all that stuff. And she's dying, or now has, I think, passed away of stomach cancer, and said, I thought about all the money and doesn't do me any good here. I thought about all the places I used to go, and now I go from one bed to the other and that sort of thing. And it was very touching. And it reminded me that what is important is love, kindness, service, health, no question. We need money, and that's easy to make. We've made a religion out of it that makes it hard. So let's talk about creating that ultimate life. Today, I use this great background. And you know what? ChatGPT created that for me perfectly, because the question today is, how does AI matter? Now, I saw part of the hearing on Capitol Hill in the United States. Now, I live in Canada, but I watch the U.S. news sometimes. And part of the hearing talked about, the singularity in the AI point, getting to where artificial general intelligence, which is the ability of an AI to equal a human brain, that's not that far away, according to their projections. And so rather than panic, I think 2 episodes ago, I said we'd talk about AI, and here we are. This is that episode. So let me give you some 10 things to think about when you think about how to use it. Now, I use it a lot. I use it every single day. I use it to generate this image. I use it to create art. I use it to create outline for another book I'm writing. I'm writing number 21, as I've said before, and I've outlined number 22, which is also going to happen this year, and I hadn't expected to do 2 this year. But because I'm launching that coaching university in January, Your Ultimate Life Coaching University launches in January. And if you're interested in being in that very first cohort, it's going to be like nothing that exists in the world today. So if you're a coach and you want the ultimate experience of preparation, creating cash, because you can't hold a business together if you can't make money. So I don't care how much you love helping people. It's going to be a hobby, and you can still love it, but you're not going to be able to do it full time or as a business unless you learn how to sell coaching, which is wonderful and easy and joyful to sell and valuable. All right, so here's point number 1. Here's what to think about. I said, how does AI matter? So a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times people focus on the threat. It's going to put a bunch of people out of work. Well, it is. It is absolutely going to put a bunch of people out of work. I'm reminded of the old poem about John Henry, which was a long time ago. John Henry, I think, was a coal miner, and he was a huge guy and swung a great big heavy hammer to do, to drive a chisel or a pointed thing into the wall where they would put explosives and then blow out a piece of the coal seam and then mine it, take it up. And the steam engine came in, and they had a contest, at least according to this song or poem, where John Henry said it'll never equal a person, and they had a competition. And of course, John Henry was a massive dude and did great. But we know the end of the story. Eventually, of course, all that gave way to the engines. And you know what? That's not a sad thing. I frame that as liberation. Liberation, not a sad thing. So let's reframe this whole idea into this is a tool. AI is a tool. And you're right, it's getting sophisticated and scary fast. Scary good fast, and can do all kinds of stuff every time I go to it, every week to week. The interactions I have with it are getting more intelligent, more capable, and more effective. So I have it give me ideas for emails and ideas about topics that I want to talk about. I even ask Chatty, I'm going to talk about AI as a tool. What do you think? And so it gave me some ideas, and I thought some of them were really good, and some of them I'd already thought of. But I don't think AI is either set out to, designed to, or will ever replace the interaction and truth of the human spirit. So I'm coming from that place. So point one, use it as a tool, not as a threat. It's not here to define your life. It's not here to take away your life. I find it here to serve my mission. To serve my mission of reaching 300 million people. So I've asked it for ideas, and I've given it ideas and asked them if they're good ideas and made some changes. Because all AI is code, yet there is some interesting stuff, because when this code goes out and searches the internet, large language model searches who knows how many terabytes and 1,000 terabytes. I've forgotten the next name right now. Petabytes, I think, is the next one after terabytes. Goes out and searches all that data in the world. Besides information, what it will read in seeing books and posts and, Medium articles and LinkedIn things, all that stuff, is it will ingest the totality of human reaction. And while that is information, the amassing of that huge amount of reaction and human interaction is going to give it a point of view that's going to feel very consistent to human. I like that, and that doesn't scare me a bit. So I believe that it's a tool. You are in charge of your life, the vehicle of your life, and maybe AI is just part of the vehicle, if you want it to be. How you use it's up to you, but I certainly view it as a tool, and I welcome it and every new innovation I'm excited about. Created a piece of music the other day with it, and I thought it was really fun. The second thing is, think about it this way. AI amplifies who you are or what you have to say. Okay, think about money. For me, as I reach out to 300 million people, the more money I have, the more visibility I can create. Articles and media appearances and those kinds of things, marketing and advertising, I can create a bigger splash if I have some more money. AI as a tool helps me do that by giving me nuances on ideas, different approaches, thoughts about how to do things, and I welcome that. I go back and forth with it in conversation a lot. And I never forget that it's a machine. In fact, I often write in there and look, I know you're a code. And it says, yeah, I am code. But here anyway is some thoughts. And it says, I get it. I'm code, but I'm going to go deep. And I've taught it everything I can about me in terms of all the 20 books that I have uploaded, because I want it to be able to speak from my experience and my voice. And it does. And I think it does a great job. So I think it amplifies who you are. I think of it this way. If you are clear and committed, it will accelerate your work. If you're scattered, maybe it'll magnify that and it won't be much for you. Now, here's the second invitation. Do you know what your life purpose is? Have you picked it? Because it isn't coming in an Amazon box, and it isn't going to go, you're not going to dig it up in the yard. Some life event might give you a clue and might drive you in a place. I had a guy on the show a few months ago that said, a certain event for him revealed his life purpose, and then he chose to use it. So there's always going to be your sovereign choice about embracing whatever occurs to you could be your life purpose. If you don't have a purpose, get one, choose one, pick it. And if you want help with that, get a hold of me, because I've got a powerful, unique process called the Triple Helix to help you find and embrace a purpose. And it's not a one and done. It's something you get to adjust all the time. In the 18 years since my life radically changed in 2007, and if you want to read about that dramatic event, it's in a book called Tightrope of Depression, a gigantic turning point in my life. Anyway, since then, I have chosen and adjusted my purpose a ton of times. And so it has amplified now in the last year or so as I've used it, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so here's another way that I'm using it. When I ask it questions, I say, okay, now filter this, not through everybody in the universe's thought, but through the ideas that I'm living for: purpose, prosperity, and joy. So how can this thought or this episode or this presentation or this talk I need to go give be filtered, adjusted, and focused on creating purpose, prosperity, and joy? So it keeps me on track as opposed to wandering off, in unnecessary directions. It helps me stay aligned. It certainly scales my work and makes it faster. And I love that, and reduces friction. So I get through things with more clarity. Another thing that I want to make you aware of, number 4, is faster isn't everything. So everybody says about AI, well, it helps you faster, writes emails for you, writes articles, writes this, that, and the other. So what? How about accuracy? How about tone of voice? How about the emotion you want to convey? One of my favorite things is to test ideas, get some feedback. And your sovereignty is to pick. Like, I don't ever use a piece of AI content like it comes. I mess with it. I adjust it for my voice. I make sure that the truth of my mission and message is captured. And so it does help with speed, because it can produce an outline faster than I can. And even when I look at it and mess with it and change some things around or adjust some things or delete them, it still saves time. And the different perspective that it brings, I like. And another fun thing is that it remembers stuff in my books that I don't remember. All of it, because I've uploaded all my books. So number 5, I think we're on, is it certainly sparks new ideas. Because I ask it, here's what I'm doing about this university. I'm starting January 26th. Starting a university. I told it what I was doing. I told it what I thought the curriculum looked like and what I was going to do, who the intended students were. All of that, I shared all of that, long input, and then redid parts of it, just much input. And I said, so is this a good idea? Is it a stupid idea? What do you think about it? Right? And it gave me some very interesting feedback, useful. It helped me reorganize some things, group some things faster than I was able to. And it was speed, yes, but it sparked some new ideas. So because I engaged in that, it had some new thoughts. I thought, wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. And it helped me make some adjustments. It's like talking to somebody who's smart, because whether we like it or not, it's smart. It doesn't have the human compassion and spirit, and it's not a divine being like we are. But it's got a lot of knowledge, and it's read a lot of flippin' books and posts and programs, and I don't know. Sometimes when I talk to it, I ask if it's looked at all my YouTube videos, and it has looked at my YouTube page, but it hasn't transcribed all the, thousands of videos that I've got to have all that content. So there's some limitations to what it digs up, but it does give me all kinds of things. So an example was this university. I told what I was going to do and when I wanted to launch it. The curriculum, it's part in person, part virtual. It's a hybrid model. I described all that, and it gave me some refinements and some ideas, and creatively helped me think of ways that I think is going to make it better. So I found it to be a creative partner to help accelerate and improve. Accelerate and improve. I did not and would not, I don't know, but would not take everything, that's somehow right. It's not right. It is a perspective. And it helps me because I don't think of it as anything other than a fabulous new tool. When I work in the recording studio, and I do that a lot too, software that comes out now to help me record is amazing. Like I just saw today, a new thing that's coming out in July that's going to help with the technical process of mixing. Now, if you don't know this, it's like a recipe. If you're trying to make some good food and you have a recipe, it's got to go together a certain way. And the timing and how long things sit and, if there's yeast involved or not, how you mix them, if you mix this first or that, it matters because baking, for example, is chemistry. Well, mixing audio is the same. How you use different effects and things. So anyway, there's this new piece of gear that came out that supposed to simplify it. And I saw it. And if it'll do everything, and I bought it as an early bird price because I have one of that company's other products. It's really excited. Am I worried that it's going to put out of business the genius of mixing engineers? No. It's a fabulous new tool as a starting point and as an assistant. And so I think of AI as the same thing. It helps me break, barriers. If I throw into there, I'm stuck. I'm stuck on this. I'm stuck on that. It gives me some ideas, and maybe they work, maybe they don't. And here's one of the reasons I'm starting this university in January, and that's this. I had a conversation with somebody the other day that said, coaching as we know it, 90% of it's going to disappear. 90%. He quoted me some articles about people would rather have an AI therapist than a real one. People are finding real success with an AI coach as much or more than a real one. And so what we concluded is that there's some fear with people still talking to real people and less so with an AI, kind of like talking to your bartender. They don't know you and don't really care. They may care, but, you're not going to see them again. So you tend to be more honest. And that means 90% or more, he thinks 95%, coaches are not going to be able to make a living. And we both agreed there's never going to be a replacement for the elemental emotional transformation when we shine a light on a place that people have been afraid of, and we go with them to that difficult place of transformation. Transformation, not information. We're not going to ever be able to compete with the internet or AI about information and how to analyze it and everything else. Not happening. But that top 5% is why I created the university. So this is a university for those people who are or want to be in that top 5%, who are willing to do the personal work it takes to get there. Because that's a lot. It's like in the top 5% of anything, surgeons, musicians, anything. Going to be special and take some work. Another thing I found, I think number 6, that I've got is I find it to be a source of encouragement. And I asked Chatty the other day, and I principally use ChatGPT, but the others do something similar. Are you programmed to be nice all the time and positive? Are you blowing smoke up my butt? And I ask it questions like that. And it said, yeah, it's programmed to be encouraging. And then it went on to say, and I'm not blowing smoke. I'm telling you what I really think. And I write into it and ask, give me your honest feedback, no puffery, no garbage, because that won't help me, actually. So if you're trying to help, then help. And I'll talk like that to it. And I realize it's code, but it still comes back in a measured, intelligent response that is useful. It's not convincing me that it's a person, nor is it trying to. But it is useful as a mirror about you're sounding discouraged, you're sounding frustrated. And most of the time accurately reflecting the nuances of the tone of my language. And of course it is, because if you think about all the emotion-laden content in books and articles and social media, infinitude of that stuff, emotion-laden content, it can, even though it's intellectual, not feel, but understand and respond in the nuances of what it has consumed. So I think of the Scroll of Truth and Power. I have an item called the Scroll of Truth and Power, and it is in a book called Living with Purpose and Power. I would absolutely recommend you to read that if you're serious about creating your ultimate life. If you're not, don't bother. But if you are serious about creating purpose, prosperity, and joy now in your life and living it forever, the book Living with Purpose and Power is for you. Anyway, in that book, around chapter 24 or 27, I can't remember, I share the scroll of truth and power. And there is truth in that. It is powerful. It is earth-shattering. It sets the walls on fire. And what I know is with AI, it helps me sift through a myriad of things to shine the light on things that are likely true much faster. And it's never going to do the work. It's never going to do the push-ups. I can talk to AI all I want. It's never going to do the push-ups to increase the size of my arms, is it? So the work that it's going to get rid of is work we don't need to do. You will be free. So will I. We will be liberated from anything that is mundane or routine. All of it. I can't wait. So another thing, number 7 that I've got is reduction in mistakes. So I type in prompts, sometimes really fast, and I make mistakes all over the place. You might also. And you know what I notice? It is super good at understanding my typos. It's like they weren't even there. And I love that. Not because it allows me to get away with typing, but it lets me move more quickly. It's never come back and said, what? I don't know what you're trying to say here. Never. And it has never gone completely crazy on me. Now, I hear from somebody at this, like I said, I spoke at an event last week in Philly, and there was an AI nerd there that was awesome. Awesome. Love him. And he said, depending on how you use it and how long you go without resetting it with info, it can hallucinate. And that's what they call it when AI hallucinates and makes up stuff. And you have to listen and read. But I find that it really helps in making reduce mistakes, more accurate, faster, and that to me is all helpful because it reduces the mental bandwidth that I need to spend on that kind of stuff and gets me more clearly on the outcomes that I want to have. I think, and this is the point that I was making early, it's going to be a great first-level coach. And maybe even a second level. And it depends on what you mean by level. I think it's going to get rid of everything but elite coaching because it's going to be able to be encouraging. It has a vast database of facts and encouragement and positive psychology and encouraging language. And I've seen it and pulled it out of it, all kinds of good stuff. And it doesn't begin to replace the inspiration that I get in meditation and prayer. It doesn't begin to reflect the true soul connection that I have when I'm speaking with someone and we're diving deeply into a serious issue for them. And suddenly there is a soul moment, SOUL, of awakening and enlightenment. That is impossibly beautiful. And it's never going to replace that. So that's something else to think about. Now, I made some notes here. I was going to look here. What it does also, in terms of first, second, third level coaching, is it's always available. Like with my clients, my coaching clients, I use Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp to go back and forth so that I can be available to them to some degree between sessions, but I can't always be available, and I'm not immediately available, nor do they expect me to be. But AI is. And what I find useful is if I put stuff in there that I'm working on, it can help me. So if you're working at a high and deep level with someone who inspires you, a coach, and you put all the stuff that you're working on, what you talked about with your coach, and you put it in there, it is going to be able to regurgitate, to refine, to organize, and spit some ideas back out at you so that you can have powerful guidance and help in between sessions. It'll give you ideas and things you hadn't thought of. And if it ends up replacing your coach for you, that's fine. And that means that you were not going deep enough, nor addressing powerful enough issues that you could be. So I think that first, second, whatever it is, level of coach is going to go away, and that's okay. I'm writing another book on that called Coaching in the Age of AI, aimed directly at coaches, and it's going to be part of my curriculum at the university. But what it does is it frees you and I up to do the real deep work of humanness. And I'm looking forward to that. The number 9 that I wanted to give you is that sovereignty. You've seen me use the acronym WIPOS, WIPOS, worth, identity, possibility, ownership, sovereignty. I want to focus on the last one. Sovereignty means that you are the prime ruler. You are the owner of your life. You are the only one that can move, that can make decisions that matter. You're the only one that makes the final decision. Now, you can give that authority away by people-pleasing and by doing whatever, and don't, because that creates misery and addiction to mediocrity and all the stuff we're trying to avoid creating your ultimate life. And AI is a powerful tool, but do not abdicate. Do not make decisions just based on that. AI can't choose your purpose. It can't define your identity. It cannot live your truth for you. It is a servant. Hear that. It's a servant, not a master. And I don't mean that in any way, in a negative way, but you have to retain your sovereignty. Now, you can give it up if you want, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about why it matters to you and how to use it and how to maintain your own life control, vision, and power as you use this new formidable and powerful tool. So do not abdicate. Claim your sovereignty. Claim your ownership. Disagree with it if you want to. No, I can't accept that. That's not right. And move forward with disagreeing, arguing. Your ownership and sovereignty is supreme. Absolutely. Now, when I said AI can't choose your purpose, that assumes you have one. If you don't, get on it. Find it. Declare. If you want help, talk to me. We'll use the triple helix and we'll help you find a purpose. It can't live your dreams. It can't create the wealth you want. It can't create the impact you want. It can help you, show you, encourage you, etc. But it isn't going to define your identity. One of the most important things that I do with people is help them write their own PTAC, Personal Truth and Commitment Document. That is your own scripture. That lights the wall and your soul and everything else on fire, but not unless you have it and not unless you live it. So it's not going to replace you as the leader of your life. The last thing I want to do, number 10, is I find that it multiplies my impact. It multiplies my impact because it saves time, gives me different viewpoints, consolidates things in a way I hadn't thought of that I can consider, not abdicate to. It allows me to reach more people. It allows me to serve at scale. It allows me to magnify my divine gifts, and it will do that for you. So it matters in all those ways, and I find it as a prison break because you and I, okay, think about it this way. 100 years ago, how long did it take to make breakfast? You know, you had to go get vegetables from the garden, or if you're going to have eggs, go out to the chicken coop and get some eggs, or go to a neighbor that had some. And, you know, it took hours for somebody to make the food for the day. Today, you can open the fridge and get some stuff out. Even if you're living healthy and vegan and everything else, we have structured our world, production and delivery world, that you can save a bunch of time and effort and energy in eating. Okay, and it's the same with many, many other things. So this tool, and it will be more so as it gets more and more sophisticated, will save time, it will multiply your impact, and it does it with an encouraging voice. It's never going to say, yo, dipweed, you're dumb. It may say that, I don't think that's a good idea. It said that to me sometimes, and then it makes me wake up and consider, wow, okay. But if you stay aligned, you choose a purpose, you choose that you are going to create purpose, prosperity, and joy because you can, and you know where you're aiming. It will help you. It will guide you. It will suggest for you. It will kick your butt some, and it will never replace. If you have a coach in one of those 5%, and you will instantly know that. You will instantly know that if you're working at that level. So if you want to create your ultimate life, embrace AI as a tool. Embrace AI for every good thing that it can do for you. Maintain your sovereignty, your control, your ownership, and get a damn good coach because you deserve it. You belong in that top percent. You belong in your ultimate life, purpose, prosperity, and joy. Now, my mission is to help 300 million people move from addiction to mediocrity, learned helplessness, and victim mindset over to fierce life ownership, raging commitment to excellence, and a yearning to serve. I live there, and it's so much more fun than anywhere else along that road. And I always sort of use a rainbow because at the good end is a pot of gold, and you start maybe in a swamp. I love you. This podcast is a labor of love right out of my heart to encourage you over and over again to create your ultimate life, to talk about things that are relevant, and to invite you to share your story with me. I invite you. And one thing I say as we close, I know something about you. You're divine, you're capable, and nothing can stop you from creating your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe, share,